Does it get much better? The fiercest of rivals, the highest of stakes, in the biggest of houses. An Ohio State-Michigan milestone. For a Big Ten title, no one will have to share. But which men will show the mettle to master the emotions of the moment? John Navarre knows his final trip through this tunnel will define 4 years of work and a lifelong legacy. At this historic collision of maize and blue versus scarlet and gray, it's College Game Day on Rivalry Saturday now.
These two-story programs, we put everything at stake, right for both fans. Ohio State and Michigan, one more thing you ask for. At the big house or a big game encore. John Navarre redemption, Bristle deliverance, seldom if ever does it get as big as this. Big Ten supremacy, BCS invites. Yes, there's a lot to be settled by this fight. Game for the ages, reminiscent of the days back when Coach Shim Beckler, he did not really hate this. The Lloyd Carr, Jim Tressel era game day with Bubba K, it gets no better.
College Game Day is built by the Home Depot, proud sponsor of college football's premier pregame show.
In about 90 minutes, one of the largest crowds in college football history will crowd inside the big house behind us here to celebrate the 100th Ohio State-Michigan game. In the meantime, they're getting ready on the golf course right behind us here. It's a balmy day, almost bizarre for Ohio State versus Michigan. Who needs a coat out here? Chris, Steve, and Kirk Rocket Ismail will join us. Our honor to be here for this milestone of Ohio State versus Michigan on Rivalry Saturday, when the top 4 serious BCS contenders all face rivals, 3 of them on the road. You got trophy games, conference titles, bowl bids, bragging lights, all on the line. Everything being fought for in the coming hours, Lee. Good stuff.
What I'm looking for, that's really good stuff. And what I'm looking for is if this Michigan team and their fans have enough pride to keep the Ohio State Buckeyes from beating them the 3rd time in a row, and most important, another shot at the national title, and even more important about that, Kirk Herbstreit, the last time the Buckeyes were in the big house, they embarrassed the maize and blue.
Again, a nice prelude to what's going to come up at about 11:59 from Lee Corso. Listen, Michigan's got enough pride to win this game. They're not going to back down. They play as well at home as any team in college football. They've been dominant at home. It'll be very tough for Ohio State to come in here and win.
More prelude. You know, the college football gods must be smiling. All the other contenders have been swatted aside, and it's fitting. In the 100th meeting, the outright Big Ten title is at stake for the first time in 23 years. It's also fitting the last half century here has been dead even, 24, 24, and 2. It's not Bo versus Woody, and it never will be, but Jim Tressel and Lloyd Carr each have a national championship on the resume. It's Tressel, however, who has won 2 straight. And the Michigan men being reminded they do not yet have Big Ten rings, and it's been 40 years since a Michigan team has lost 3 in a row to Ohio State. Bo says that is unthinkable. Ohio State's won 24 of the last 25, but they're being called the Luckeyes because they've won 3 games without scoring an offensive touchdown. In this heavyweight collision, though, there are no spoilers.
They're going to want to take that feeling out of how I felt when we were, won that game last year against them, and they saw that we were going to the national championship game.
That was the question last year. Do we want to spoil the national championship season? The answer is the same this year. No, we don't want to spoil anything. We want to accomplish our goals, and our goal is a Big Ten championship.
I'm sure that they're going to be hungry, and they're going to be, wanting all kinds of revenge and to ruin our season for what we've done for them in the past couple years.
Well, certainly the rivalry stands on its own, guys. The Big Ten outright title stake, but Lee, you said it. It's not lost on Ohio State's players that if they get this victory, almost certainly another national title shot awaits them in New Orleans. You've been there. You know what it's like. The heart's got to be pounding a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Michigan.
A little bit. Every week, every time this time of year comes around, it gets exciting. You have to understand, for the players that play in this game, most of these players that came down to going to Ohio State or Michigan because of the similarities and respect for these two teams. And that's the thing. This game is the fastest playing, hardest hitting game you play in all year long, but it's also the cleanest. This is not a dirty rivalry. Despite the hatred from these guys behind us, the fans, on the field, it's nothing but respect from the players. In fact, Lee, to this day, when I bump into a Michigan player 10 years later, there's a mutual bond of respect because of playing in this game. I think there's that fraternity.
Well, you're 150% right. You know, from watching this ball game last year on the sideline, I was tremendously impressed the way these teams conducted themselves. It was the best rivalry game I've seen since I coached in the Army-Navy game. No trash talking, no cheap shots, no ugly incidents, just tough, hard-nosed football. Actually, it's the way college football should have their big games played. This is a tremendous rivalry.
That game was incredible last year in the Horseshoe. You could not breathe. Every snap was tense. We might get that kind of a game today.
Yeah, because of the great defense.
You know, our guy Rocket Ismail certainly knows what it's like to get ready, try to get your mind set for a big game. Rocket, these players must be have their hearts pounding out of their chests right now.
Hey, every player has a unique way they get prepared the night before a big game. My normal routine would be eat, go to meetings, take a shower, and get some sleep. But the night before the big game, I would add something special to the rotation. I would take a shower, bath combination. I felt like this gave me that restful sleep I needed so that the next day in the big game, I would have that extra pep in my step and was able to amply get busy.
Oh, the secret. A bubble bath, maybe?
No bubbles in the bath. No bubbles in the bath.
Thanks
I don't
for
think I've
sharing.
ever heard of that. That's a little too much information.
If you need further proof of how big this game is, check this story out. The Ohio man agreed to plead guilty to forgery if the judge in Columbus would postpone his 2-year prison term and let him stay in jail over the weekend where he could watch the game on TV.
I'm embarrassed.
This is it.
Well, it's Michigan week, and it's Columbus, Ohio. And I thought I should do my part for the fans of Ohio State Buckeyes.
If they can win, I mean, I can go ahead and be on cloud 9 for a few months that I'm incarcerated, and it'll make it a little easier because, you know, when you're a Buckeye fan and they win, you know, pretty much the rest of the world doesn't matter.
You feel proud of it?
What are we going to show, a tornado next? At my house? I don't know where. Hey.
That's
embarrassing.
It is not his first conviction for forgery. His lawyer is a Michigan man, and the judge didn't know that, or he might not have granted that request.
That's what they say. Those Michigan guys are smarter than the Ohio State.
Oh, really?
That's what they say.
He's taking a shot.
Well, come on back. Plenty on College Game Day's Rivalry Saturday coming up. We'll talk about that OU game in Lubbock. Is that an upset alert? Well, the nation's #1 defense faces off against high-powered passing offense of Texas Tech. Why has it been so tough for Leach to score on OU? And USC's a huge favorite on UCLA. They say they're not distracted by the BCS, but they got to prove it in the Coliseum today. And it's been 33 years since LSU and Ole Miss ranked when they met.
Plenty of time to throw. Does throw, caught by Clayton, and this is a touchdown.
Coming up here, game plans, the visit with Chris Perry, and we'll relive the classic Bo versus Woody battles on Game Day from A Squared.
This holiday season, deck your halls and leave them decked. And deck out your kitchen, too. At the Home Depot, we're more than a store. We're where holiday home improvements and decorations last all year. Right now at the Home Depot and Expo Design Center, you'll have no payments, no interest until January 2005 on all flooring and appliance purchases of $299 or more when you use your Home Depot or Expo consumer credit card. And for installation you can trust, let At Home Services professionally install it for you. The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer.
You don't have a camera.
You ain't got no camera. Nobody gonna believe you because you ain't got no camera.
Oh, are you gonna call your mom? Hey, Mom, I'm talking to a celeb.
Oh.
With Singular, take a picture, add a voice message.
You ain't got no camera.
Copy all your friends, and you're only charged once. Plus, you get great deals on camera phones.
Want to play a fun game of chase?
Picture, voice, and text. Another reason Singular fits you best.
Do you have the right truck?
Black coffee to go.
Does your truck have better resale value than Ford and Dodge? A Silverado half-ton pickup does.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hey, is this your truck?
What's it going for?
What do you mean, what's it going for?
Let me make you an offer.
It's not for sale.
Leave it here. It's for sale.
It's not for sale.
Silverado, it's the right truck from Chevy. Silverado is the only full-size pickup available with OnStar.
Just a little love. Think of your fellow man. Lend him a helping hand. Put a little love in your heart, yeah. Put a little love, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be so beautiful now for you and me. You just wait and see.
Hear it, see it, play it at the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Nokia is giving away an all-access trip to the Nokia Sugar Bowl Plus and Jeep Liberty. Go to hearseeplay.com and check out all the new Nokia products and enter for your chance to win. College football Saturdays on ESPN.
Hey, man. Hey, call me right back. All right, thanks.
Do your music ringtones sound this real? Download Singular Supertones instantly and easily from our huge library of great songs. Supertones, another way Singular fits you best.
College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help. And in part by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best.
The only Michigan native in Ohio State, Captain Craig Krenzel, trying to go 3-0 in his career against the Wolverines. He's 23-2 as a starter. Our Singular Wireless Championship Text Challenge. Vote on ESPN.com. You could be on your way to the BCS. What is the best rivalry in college football? I know how these folks would vote. We'll see how you vote on ESPN.com. Time now for our studio speed drills to Reese Davis, Trev Alberts, and Mark May. Guys, good morning.
All right, Chris, we're going to broaden out to the big picture and spin forward a little bit in speed drills. Let's get started, guys. With a win, does Ohio State deserve a chance to defend its national title?
Absolutely. I said it 3 weeks ago. You know, sometimes, Mark and Reese, life isn't fair. I mean, it's not fair to USC necessarily that Auburn turned out to be an average team. Maybe it's not fair that USC, all of a sudden, Arizona State's a terrible football team this season. Ohio State has the better strength of schedule. If they only have one loss, as well as everyone else, they deserve the chance to defend their national championship in the Nokia Sugar Bowl, Mark.
Well, if they want to deserve that chance, they shouldn't have lost to Wisconsin. We wouldn't even be having this situation and this conversation about it. I think LSU has a better chance if they go to the SEC championship game and win. I think they're probably a better team than Ohio State, and I think USC is definitely a better team than Ohio State. They don't deserve to go back and defend it.
Okay.
Okay. Reasonable minds can differ. How about this one? If Oklahoma beats Texas Tech today but loses in the Big 12 championship game, should the Sooners still go to the Nokia Sugar Bowl?
Absolutely. Why does Oklahoma have to go to Kansas City, Missouri on December the 6th? It could be a blizzard out there, guys, and play another game. Until all the conferences play conference championship games, they shouldn't count in the BCS. It's unfair to Oklahoma.
Thank you, Commissioner of the Big 12 Conference.
Should be the commissioner.
I think Oklahoma, if they do lose the Big 12 Conference championship game, they're the best team in the land. They'll only have one loss. They deserve to go to the Nokia Sugar Bowl.
And, you know, mathematically, that could still work out because it would all depend on how far the Sooners would fall in the polls. But, you know, if you look on the field, not a lot of evidence that anybody's going to beat the Sooners anyway, and we'll see how that all unfolds, Chris.
Reese, thanks. The math does support OU being able to lose, and that is a potential distraction. Later on, we'll talk about their game with the Red Raiders. The margin between second and third, of course, is the key issue in the BCS this week, and it is .19 as Ohio State jumped over USC. LSU could close the gap, but they really need Buckeye and Trojan losses. Pete Carroll and his men at Troy profess to care nothing about these standings, and with UCLA coming up today, they shouldn't be. One man who doesn't understand the BCS flip-flop, and even though he's had plenty of time this week to study it, the ex-Trojan and now the ex-Buccaneer, Keyshawn Johnson.
I think USC deserves to be in a title game because I think that, you know, minus a computer schedule, I think that they've played extremely well this year. Pete Carroll's team's been together. They haven't had close games, much like the Ohio State Buckeyes, and I think it's time for USC to get back in the national championship game. How big would that be, the Oklahoma Sooners and the Trojans playing down in Louisiana versus the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Oklahoma Sooners? That just doesn't look good to me.
He doesn't know Ohio State's nickname. Keyshawn, he'll have a chance to go to the game now. The humans in both polls prefer USC over Ohio State, but that computer average, which does not factor in margin of victory this season for the first time, that's important. Last year's formula, USC is number 2, not Ohio State. That edge is only going to grow if they beat Michigan today. The problem is, what if all these contenders win out? You got a major controversy.
Well, despite Keyshawn Johnson's obvious bias towards USC, he's right. He's right. On the football field, USC is deserving of having an opportunity to play in the national championship because of the way they're playing. But because of the weak schedule, they've only played one ranked team. That's what's catching up to them and hurting them. Now, you heard Reese and the guys talking about Oklahoma. I'll do them one better. Not only do they deserve it, if Oklahoma beats Texas Tech today and they go play Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game and happen to lose, Oklahoma still will go to the national championship game because they're not going to drop below 2 in the final BCS standing. So essentially, Oklahoma is playing Texas Tech today for the right to go to the Sugar Bowl and play for the national title.
Boy, that's a lot of good stuff. And I tell you, Mark has a good point there. What about LSU? You know, everybody's talking about USC and Ohio State. But if they beat Ole Miss, Arkansas, Florida, and or Georgia in the title game of the SEC, they're 12-1 in the SEC championship. What about LSU Tigers?
Yeah, they're being penalized again unfairly for a weak non-conference schedule. Still, I'll tell you what, Keith Gilbertson, he may be biased as well, but the Washington coach played both USC and Ohio State. In his opinion, USC clearly the superior team. But again, he's from the Pac-10. By the way, a footnote, Michigan's not out of this. Michigan is 9th. They're not out of it if they beat the Buckeyes. If USC loses, LSU could happen.
They're right there.
Be careful. They might get all the way up there.
Michigan can get there.
No way.
That could happen.
They're looking good.
We'll talk more about the Trojans. I mean, it's a potential distraction they have to handle as they take on UCLA, try to beat them 5 straight. Eli Manning, talk about distractions. Can he beat that in LSU? We'll find out.
Manning looks to the end zone, throws it. Catch is made. Touchdown, Ole Miss.
GTO is coming. Fuel for the soul.
Leon, it's a big week. What can you tell us about your injury?
Well, actually, my injury shouldn't be a factor. I didn't cut my face or chip my teeth, so my future broadcasting career is in absolutely no jeopardy.
What about in the short term?
Oh, well, once again, good news. This injury will in no way jeopardize the filming of my new shoe commercial.
So you're definitely a go for the big game this Sunday?
Oh, no. I couldn't chance it. Not with the big week ahead. Y'all mind if we shoot that again from a good side?
Hey, I'm Stan. I'm one of the guys making hockey here at the factory. You know, there was a time when Made in America was just a fact. Soon it became a rallying cry for the whole country. It stood for pride, integrity, hard work. Seeing Made in America stamped on something let people know that that was a darn fine product. Some people think hockey's made in Canada. The NHL on ESPN. Made in America, delivered on Thursdays.
Women love perfectly groomed men, but grooming certain areas can be a problem. Now there's Microtouch for safe, precise grooming that gets as close as a blade, yet is safe to the touch. Now you can keep the back of your neck barbershop perfect by yourself. Remove unsightly ear hair and embarrassing nose hair with just a touch. Sideburns and beards, neat and clean. Got bushy eyebrows? Snap on the guide and perfectly groom them in seconds. Look at the difference. What a great way for women to keep the man in their life perfectly groomed. Microtouch grooms from head to toe and anywhere in between. A $40 value, yours for only $14.99. Plus, you get our 10-piece precision grooming kit. A $40 value, yours free. Order now and get both the Microtouch Precision Groomer and the 10-piece grooming kit, an $80 value for only $14.99.
Call 1-800-357-6363. That's 1-800-357-6363. So call 1-800-357-6363.
One of the great spots in college football. They're there by the droves in the Grove at Ole Miss. Even LSU fans there. Tens of thousands who don't have tickets showing up to be a part of Ole Miss and LSU. 63 was Ole Miss's last SEC title, but the Rebels have won 6 of them under legendary Johnny Vaught in the 50s and 60s when Ole Miss was a superpower. LSU was the fiercest rival. The 59 Rebels gave up 3 touchdowns all season, but one was a Halloween punt return by Billy Cannon of LSU. Vaught's team getting payback in the Sugar Bowl. So today, at 94.5 years old, Coach Vaught will pass up his golf game, leave his farm, and head to the stadium named for him, where a tape message by him will stir up the crowd, and then Vaught will sit there and watch the youngest son of the quarterback that he coached, Archie Manning, play in his final and most important home game. David Cutcliffe's crew at Ole Miss is not hiding from the hugeness.
I'm not going to tell them that it's not a big game. I think that's ridiculous to approach it from that standpoint. They know it's a big game. They're going to look at me funny if I tell them this is just another ball game.
Whether we win or lose, say we do win this game, we still have to beat Arkansas, so that's a big game. You know, so it's really, from here on out, every game is a big game. So I don't think we should probably put too much emphasis just on this one, because, you know, from here on out, every game is a big game.
None other than Archie Manning told us last night he thinks Ole Miss looks ready, not too hyped up for this game. And John Bard joins us now this morning from the Grove down at Ole Miss to kind of set the scene. Tell me that the Bayou Bengal fans haven't totally taken over, John.
Absolutely not. I'm totally surrounded by Rebels here. Plenty of nostalgia here in the Grove. You have to go back decades to find a time when this rivalry has held such relevance. And they're drowning me out, I know. You got to go back to 1970 to when Archie Manning played to find a time when both of these teams have entered this contest ranked. Now, of course, Eli Manning is playing in his last game at Ole Miss. Ole Miss trying to keep its dreams of playing for the SEC championship alive. The Cajun kings and queens have come north. There was some rumor they would take over the Grove, but here in the Grove, Chris, they're looking to grill up a little bit of Tiger. It is getting loud. I'm sure I can't hear you, but I'll send it back to you.
John, thank you. That scene never disappoints. That's good stuff. It's great to be there, too.
We talk about Eli Manning's poise. How about John's poise? Good
Nice
focus
job.
there. Get him under center.
You know, they are 5-1 at home this season. 5 times they have hit 43 points plus. They're tough to beat in that environment, Ole Miss.
No question about that, and they're a very confident football team against LSU. Number one, they're 2-2 against LSU, and they got Eli Manning. 2 key points in this football game for Ole Miss to win it. Number one, they got to protect Eli, and number 2, their defense has got to keep the LSU long pass to a minimum. If they make LSU drive the ball, they got a shot.
Well, Matt Mock, the LSU quarterback, leads the SEC in passing efficiency, 21 touchdowns, only 8 picks. And Ole Miss's pass defense, 116th in the nation, 300 yards a game. I think Matt Mock could have a big game throwing the ball.
Talk more about that game. Ole Miss never represented the West Division in the title game. The only team in that division that has not done so. In the East, it's looking very likely now that that 3-way tie is going to happen. The Gators in the clubhouse at 6-2. Dogs close with Kentucky today. Vols host Vandy, then visit Kentucky. Tennessee loss, by the way, would clinch it for Florida. That's unlikely. Barring upsets, that 7th tiebreaker will decide it. You got to go to the BCS standings. The lowest of the 3 tossed out. If the other 2 are within 5 spots of each other, and that's very likely, the head-to-head winner is chosen. Under that scenario right now, Georgia would be chosen. But the Dogs still have Georgia Tech. We know the Gators host the Seminoles next week. This is still interesting, very much so.
A lot of good stuff there. Basically, it's coming down to Florida or Georgia. If Florida passes Tennessee, then Florida goes. And if they stay behind Tennessee, then Georgia goes. As far as Georgia's concerned today, this is a great stat. All the injuries that Georgia has had this year, they're 2nd in the nation in total defense. And I think the defense alone wins this football game today for the Dogs against Kentucky. Kentucky's going to try to throw it. But Brian Van Gorder, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, have the Dogs ready.
Let's talk about another football team we rarely talk about here on this show. It's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has the youngest football team in the nation, and Coach Bobby Johnson's positive approach has worked. They've gotten better every single football game. They got a quarterback named Jay Cutler, who's number 2 in the SEC in total offense behind Eli Manning. Defense plays well. This game is closer than the experts think, but Tennessee wins it with special teams.
Vandy rarely rose over against the big organization.
Even in the great years, they always struggle with Vandy.
Play hard.
Tonight, they're purely playing for pride. It's Alabama and Auburn. The 6-5 Tigers must win to preserve a winning season after being preseason number 6. Hubbardville feeling some heat down there. It's the second time in 20 years that neither side is ranked. It's interesting, the road team has won the last 4 Iron Bowls.
Well, you talk about heat. I want to tell you about interesting stats here. Alabama is assured of having its 3rd losing season in 7 years. That's not good.
No,
you know why? They've had 3 losing seasons in the last 41. Yo, Auburn's 4-5 at home, and I think Auburn wins this one at home.
I think Auburn's been one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I think their offense has struggled against anybody who can play good defense. So I'm going to stick with the trend of the road team winning, like Alabama, to play better defense and stop Auburn.
Well, that'd be a good pick.
Stick with Bama.
You got to do
step out there.
It's a great game.
All right, a lot more coming up on College Game Day. We'll talk about that visit by Oklahoma to Texas Tech, the #1 defense against the high-power passing. Something's got to give in that game. And, of course, Bo played for Woody, then coached with him at Ohio State, but became a bitter rival. We'll look inside their relationship.
Of the umpire.
I mean, that's good stuff. You'll enjoy the Bo Woody feature straight ahead from Michigan.
ESPN the magazine on newsstands now.
Last Thanksgiving, about 2 million people tried to deep fat fry their turkey. 15 succeeded in setting their houses on fire. At Christmas, there was a lot of driving over the river and through the woods and a little bit of skidding on the ice and taking out Grandma's garage door. So while you're celebrating, Allstate will be standing by. Trouble never takes a holiday. Neither should your insurance. That's Allstate, Stan. Are you in good hands?
My husband's gonna cut you off when the light turns green. I'm driving with my knees.
You don't always know who to avoid out there.
I'm really tired.
That's why every Saturn L300 comes standard with ABS brakes, traction control, and head curtain side airbags. Finance the new 2004 Saturn L300-1 for $249 a month. See your retailer for details.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year, all our troubles will be out of sight. So have yourself a merry little Christmas.
This holiday season, put out the good stuff. Planters.
Need some help?
Well, I'm replacing the carpet in our hallway, and I need about 30 feet. What do you think?
Let's check. Chains!
Oh! College Game Day, built by Home Depot. Saturday mornings, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Just a bit more.
You're watching College Game Day, built by the Home Depot.
Lloyd Carr walking into the big house about a half hour ago. Michigan man through and through, and he embraces the challenge of a game like this. 13-3 in his career against the top 10. Of course, on this 100th meeting in this great rivalry, we revisit the 10-year span that truly built Ohio State and Michigan into what it is. This was a script worthy of Shakespeare. The protege leaves the side of the mentor, becomes his fiercest rival, his nemesis, and each year they could achieve ultimate victory only by devastating the other guy. For triumph one side, for devastation the other. On a college football landscape much simpler than it was today, the stakes were never higher, the passions were never hotter than when it was Bo versus Woody.
That's a feud with a capital F. It's Hatfield and McCoy.
There was nothing more in the world that Woody Hayes wanted to do than
beat Michigan and Bo Schembechler?
Well, let me tell you what he thought about Michigan. He wouldn't even mention the name Michigan. He called it the school up north.
They'd say things like, look, tell your parents if they're going to drive up to the game, buy gas in our state, not that other state. Just literally a total separation, as if it were the Romans and the Huns.
The 1969 Buckeyes rolled into Ann Arbor, averaging 46 points per game and riding a 22-game winning streak. One of those wins by Woody Hayes' defending national champions was a 50-14 slaying of Michigan in 1968.
He went for a 2-point conversion on the last touchdown. Somebody said to Woody, why did you go for a 2-point conversion? I.e., you would have won 49-14. His answer, because I couldn't go for 3.
Despite being 17-point underdogs, Schembechler was confident his game plan and motivation could produce an historic upset.
4, 3, 2, 1. They got Schembechler on their shoulders. Listen to the crowd go wild. Michigan upsets Ohio State 24, Ohio State 12.
2 years later, in 1971, Hayes unleashed one of his notorious meltdowns in a 3-point loss to undefeated Michigan.
Woody Hayes is furious. He is screaming right up into the face of the umpire.
While he's doing that, now picture this. The sun comes out, and then it becomes overcast, rains a little bit, fog comes in. He's looking over at me, and his glasses are so fogged up, he can't see anything. And I'm saying to myself, you son of a gun. You're setting up next year's game because you knew this one is history.
The Buckeyes rebounded from the 1971 loss with 3 straight trips to the Rose Bowl, each at the expense of Michigan. The Woody versus Bo rivalry would turn in Michigan's favor with the arrival of quarterback Rick Leach. Leach, the 2-sport local sensation from Flint, led the Wolverines to 3 straight wins over Ohio State between 1976 and 1978. The 10-year war between Bo and Woody ended abruptly when Hayes was fired after attacking a Clemson player in the 1978 Gator Bowl.
I miss not having him over there. Of all the coaches I've ever been around, he's the greatest teacher. He was going to beat you with blocking, tackling, no mistakes. That's what I learned from him more than anything else. That was Woody Hayes.
That's fitting. Each coach finished their career with 13 Big Ten titles. Head-to-head, it was Bo 5, Woody 4, and 1 tie. And in that tie, they voted Ohio State to go to the Rose Bowl. You know, Bo is 74 now. He's had a heart attack. He's had a bypass, but he seemed to be in good health and great spirits last night. We saw him. He's fired up for this one.
He was like the Godfather last night. We saw him in a restaurant. People would come by just to touch his hand and talk to him. My dad coached with Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler at Ohio State. And then my dad went down to Miami of Ohio with Bo. So I know firsthand that Woody and Bo were great friends, talking every day until 1969 when Bo took the job at Ann Arbor at Michigan. At that point, they talked twice a year. Bo told me that it was once in Chicago at the Big Ten conference meetings, and the other time, this game, during warm-ups, Woody would send his GA over into enemy territory to Bo's GA and say, okay, he's ready to meet you. They'd meet at the 50-yard line. Neither guy would dare cross the 50-yard line. They'd stick their hand out, shake each other's hand, and say, good luck, let's have a clean game. Take care. See you in Chicago next summer. And that was it. These guys were like 2 generals leading their teams into war. Then, of course, things changed. The relationship changed after Woody left Ohio State.
And Bo told us a couple of great stories, didn't he? The first one, this is a great story. The first person to visit Bo Schembechler when he had his heart attack was Woody Hayes. The first person. Then he also told us when Woody was in poor health, he drove over to Dayton, which is a 2-hour drive, and he gave a 30-minute testimonial for Bo Schembechler. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the last time those 2 great friends saw each other, because Woody went home and passed away. 2 great coaches, but even more important, 2 great human beings.
To play 100 more of these games, we'll never see anything like the Bo versus Woody era.
I really think that elevated the rivalry. It took it to a whole different level. The relationship that they had and the toughness and the way they approached the game.
Now you guys understand why I could never beat them.
It's reflected in their players. Get back to what you said. Jack Tatum, the ex-Buckeye, as fierce a guy on the field as you could find. Thanks to diabetes, he lost a leg. It was amputated. But Michigan guys like Leach and Lytle and Wangler went to Ohio to help him raise money for charity.
I tell you, there's more. There's more respect in this rivalry than any other rivalry in the country on the field. These people hate each other's guts, but on the field, there's a tremendous amount of respect.
And the coaches today respect each other. We showed you Carr. Here's Jim Tressel. I'll tell you what, he proclaimed the day he was introduced that Ohio State would turn the tide in this rivalry. He's backed it up so far. He is 2-0. More on this game, of course, is coming up. Navarre's legacy. Very important game for number 16. They love him, they hate him, they can't live him out here in Michigan. And Ohio State's number 16. Can he stay perfect against his home state team? In the Big East, it's a logjam at the top. Who's going to emerge from the weird tiebreak system in that conference? A lot more coming straight up.
Hello? Can we talk about 10-10-987? Have you tried it?
I haven't made long-distance phone calls in a while.
It doesn't matter. If you make 1 call or 100 calls, same price. 3 cents a minute and then 39 cents to connect anywhere in the United States. So do you know how it works? First you dial 10-10-987, then 1, then the area code. You know how much it is?
3 cents a minute plus 39 cents for the connection.
Will you try it after I've left your apartment?
Yes, I promise you I will.
You can use the little paw to actually dial the 10-10-987.
See, he wants you to hold hands with him.
For decades, Quattro all-wheel drive has revolutionized racing. Now our Advantage is yours in every model line. The Advantage Audi event. Take the Advantage now. For exceptional values on exceptional cars, go to AudiUSA.com.
This is titanium. One of the sharpest metals known to man. Now available in a somewhat more manageable size. The new Remington Titanium Series. The world's only shaver with the sharpness of titanium-coated trimmer blades. For a shave that's incredibly close and comfortable. Remington Titanium. It could just make all other shavers obsolete.
It's man versus the laws of physics. The PBA Tour.
Scout takes the second down.
The march to the PBA World Championship continues every Sunday afternoon.
Watch this, here comes the head kick. You better believe it.
The PBA Empire State Open, Sunday at 1 p.m. on ESPN.
It's been quite a climb for the Mountaineers from a 1-4 start and a heart-crushing loss in Miami, but West Virginia can clinch at least a share of the Big East title by winning out. They're likely not going to win the tiebreaker for that BCS Bowl bid. But today is the toughie because Syracuse has owned them 4 straight in the Carrier Dome, and they are also playing for a bowl bid. And the Orange remember that West Virginia muscled the ball in from the 1-yard line with 15 seconds to go, up 20 points a year ago. Syracuse defense is respectable. Only 8 rushing touchdowns allowed. That gives them a chance against Quincy Wilson. On offense, they're not really fancy, nothing to really talk about except they don't beat themselves. They don't kill them with turnovers.
No, and I think the big challenge really for West Virginia coming into this game is to maintain the hunger that they have played with since they started 1-4. They've been able to go on to win 5 straight. It's because they're playing hard-nosed defense, and offensively they've become explosive. They can do so many different things. I think Rasheed Marshall has settled in and making great reads, and I think today's going to have a chance at some one-on-one opportunities against the Syracuse secondary to get down the ball downfield to Chris Henry. He can go up. He's a big, tall receiver. And here's the strength of the offense. Quincy Wilson, of course, last week, the big game. And I think the balance today will be very important against Syracuse. The frustrating thing for West Virginia is they could end the year tied for a conference lead and still not have a chance to go to the BCS Bowl bid, especially if Pitt wins out. That's the most frustrating thing. They beat Pitt. But because they could be behind them in the BCS standings, Pitt will go ahead of them. Isn't that crazy?
Not so fast, Orange style.
Ooh,
how about this one? A little prop, all right.
one.
Let me tell you something. The Syracuse offense is led by 2 really excellent football players. R.J. Anderson, the quarterback, and Walter Reyes, the running back. Go Orange! Now, R.J. Anderson's hit 61% of his passes. Here he hits Reyes for a first down and a big play. Old Walter averaged 3.7 against Miami. He loves the Dome. He's had 21 touchdown passes in the Carrier Dome. That's the Syracuse record. West Virginia is perfectly set up for an upset. They're hot, they're cocky, they won 5 in a row. Orange upsets West Virginia.
All right.
The Orange.
Elsewhere in the Big East pit in that mix, they have Temple, so a chance for Fitzgerald to extend his touchdown record and perhaps build some Heisman stats. Boston College and Virginia Tech, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. The Hokies have beat them 7 straight. The Eagles need a win to boost their bowl hopes.
The games in Blacksburg, going with Virginia Tech.
And I'll say Virginia Tech, they need to bounce back. Last week was embarrassing. I like the Hokies.
The Old Oak and Bucket is your favorite rivalry game, but the Boilermakers are playing for a New Year's Day bowl, and Indiana has the worst defense in the country as far as opponents' completion percentage.
The Old Oak and Bucket stays in West Lafayette, and Purdue embarrasses Indiana again by 30 points.
I think it's going to have a foundation set up in West Lafayette. It's not going anywhere. Big win today for Purdue.
Tonight on ESPN2, Holtz and company must win to get bowl eligibility. Tommy Bowden for Clemson, unusually emotional, and Whitehurst, his quarterback, says things are eerie around there, so who knows what's going on behind the scenes.
All I know is Fire Lou Holt's website came on, and he got a year's extension. Not a bad idea. Tommy Bowden needs this one and gets it. Clemson.
Well, since they beat Florida State, they've been playing with a lot of confidence. I like Clemson to win, despite all these rumors about Tommy Bowden.
All right, Maryland and NC State, the Terps are playing for a possible Gator Bowl bid. It is the final home game for Phillip Rivers. 19 touchdowns, 2 picks the last 8 games. It's incredible.
Maryland's offensive balance outscores North Carolina State and Raleigh. Great game, though.
I think it's one of the better games of the day. I think North Carolina State could be spent emotionally after being so close against Florida State. Scott McBride, Josh Allen, the balance of Maryland. I like the Terps.
Just to be edgy, I'm going to double not so fast. I'm going to go to Rivers in his final. I'm getting nutty. All right. Coming back, plenty more in Ohio State and Michigan. Wolverines got all these weapons. Will they use them today? There's Braylon Edwards, leading receiver, will break the game plan down shortly.
Yes, you're lovely, never ever change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight.
There's more to protecting your family this winter than making sure they're dressed warmly. You've got to make sure they're protected at home as well. And no one helps protect families better than ADT. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide. Call now and take advantage of ADT's holiday special. You could even save up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance, and you may qualify for zero-down financing for installation. But you better hurry. ADT, always there.
On the 40th anniversary of a death that assassinated our innocence, there is only one destination for learning the full scope of a life that continues to compel. With new and exclusive revelations of a besieged American dynasty, the History Channel presents a full week that delves into all of the complexities behind shining hopes, shattered dreams, and the name of Kennedy. JFK Week, all this week on the History Channel.
Women love perfectly groomed men, but grooming certain areas can be a problem. Now there's Microtouch for safe, precise grooming that gets as close as a blade, yet is safe to the touch. Now you can keep the back of your neck barbershop perfect by yourself. Remove unsightly ear hair and embarrassing nose hair with just a touch. Sideburns and beards, neat and clean. Got bushy eyebrows? Snap on the guide and perfectly groom them in seconds. Look at the difference. What a great way for women to keep the man in their life perfectly groomed. Microtouch grooms from head to toe and anywhere in between. A $40 value, yours for only $14.99. Plus, you get our 10-piece precision grooming kit. A $40 value, yours free. Order now and get both the Microtouch Precision Groomer and the 10-piece grooming kit, an $80 value for only $14.99.
Call 1-800-357-6363. That's 1-800-357-6363. So call 1-800-357-6363.
Special teams, whether it's Desmond Howard a dozen years ago, Charles Woodson 6 years ago today with the punt return, often key in deciding this game. Mike Nugent, very solid kicking field goals for Ohio State, but Garrett Rivas perfect on the season inside the 40. B.J. Sander, tremendous punter. Ohio State #4 in net punting. Michigan terrible in net punting. They have punts blocked, but Ohio State not real good on the kick return or the punt return. So we'll see what you guys think later on about the whole special teams factor, who gets the edge.
Well, if this is a close ball game, Ohio State has a huge advantage when it comes to the specialists. B.J. Sander, I saw him myself kick the ball inside the Purdue 10-yard line 5 times. And Mike Nugent, we know one thing. We know he'll kick clutch field goals and win football games. We're not sure about the Michigan man. Now, Rocket, watch today, because Michigan's going to use their sensational punt return guy, Steve Breston, on kickoff returns. He averages over 20 yards per return. You know why? Because it's hard to kick away from him on kickoff return.
Coach, I'm going to be checking out Breston because the Breston factor is going to be huge. Now, Ohio State, who normally puts a premium on punt protection, has taken the linebackers out of that scheme and replaced them with safeties to counteract that Breston speed. Now, this can be kind of risky because if Michigan decides to pressure the punter, Kirk, you got guys in there who aren't used to blocking for that. And that could lead to a Michigan having a big play without Breston touching the ball.
And the big thing, Rocket, is Ohio State doesn't want to do anything to mess up their best offensive play, which is the punt. It's a very important factor for Jim Tressel. He believes in the 3-and-out system to try to get B.J. Sander out on the field so he can come out and net 41.3 yards. Now, if you picture this today, if you can go 3-and-out enough times for Ohio State, get B.J. Sander out there, 41-yard net. Now, Michigan, you got to hold them to 3-and-out. Hope that they have that 30-yard net plus 11. And if you do that 5 or 6 or 7 times, Michigan get backed up into their own 5 or 10-yard line, and now it comes up to the defense to come up with a big sack, fumble, touchdown. That's the only way Ohio State's got a chance to score today.
They did that against Purdue last week.
That's the theory. Yeah. That's the theory. Punt, get them deep, turn it back. You got to do that.
That's their best play was a punt.
Best play is the play. Well, it's the most consistent play.
Let's see.
A little sarcasm, but a lot of truth in that, too. I understand what you're saying. All right, we'll talk more about this game coming up. Trojans trying to go for 5 in a row over the Bruins. Their offense is on a roll, averaging 48. They don't punt at USC. Forget the punt. And is this the week the #1 defense is tested? No, Texas good against everybody against OU.
If football was easy, anybody could do it. And if that was the case, I'd probably be coaching the Swedish bikini team as opposed to, you know, some of these big, gnarly, nasty guys.
Leon, your reactions following today's devastating loss?
Football's a team sport, man. So I got to put the loss squarely on the shoulders of my supporting cast. Look, man, I've been carrying these guys the whole season, but I can't do it all. I need some help.
So your 4 fumbles weren't a factor in your mind?
Not if one of those other guys would have jumped on the ball. Again, Leon can't do everything.
There's no I in team.
Yeah, well, ain't no we either.
Check Sam Blitz. Check that safe. It's on 2. Red 80, yo, watch the yo. Hey.
Okay, boys, take your positions. Roger that. Looks like we're taking the scenic route. Okay, back right, you've got some water. I'm on it. Front right, you've got ice. 2 o'clock. Got it. Okay, giant mud patch in 3, 2. Woo! Man, I love this job.
The new BMW X5 with X-Drive, a revolutionary new all-wheel drive system that watches over you, shifting power where you need it, when you need it.
This week on Sunday NFL Countdown, find out the latest on Keyshawn Johnson and the future of the defending world champs.
I think that they're the most disappointing team because they're the kings of the NFL until dethroned.
And how Donovan McNabb silenced his critics.
Yeah, I thought about quitting. Yeah, right.
Touchdown! Plus Week 12 previews from around the league. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Old Spice, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Brought to you by ESPN.com. To buy College Game Day hats, go to ESPN.com and use keyword search College Game Day hats. Also available at specialty retailers.
In Manhattan, the Cats can clinch a date with the Sooners by beating Mizzou a 10th straight year. The Tigers are in the division driver's seat if they can pull the upset.
Well, Brad Smith, the only quarterback in the country to have over 1,000 yards running and throwing. It's going to be tough today against Kansas State, though. They utilize their speed at the linebacker position to control and contain Smith with Josh Buell and Brian Hickman. And I think the speed from the outside will allow Kansas State to stop Brad Smith. Kansas State right now playing very good football. They win today in 2 weeks to get ready for Oklahoma and Kansas City.
Kansas State's won 5 in a row, averaging 42 points a game. But the big thing is when they beat Nebraska at Lincoln, great confidence. Kansas State 2 touchdowns.
Looking good. #1 sack team in the country. Can they give OU a good game? Not to look ahead at Arrowhead, but they don't have the crowd there.
Depends on the weather.
Sooners, of course, have clinched the division already. They're moving on to higher goals right now. Is Lubbock the final stop in the Sooners' destruction of the state of Texas? The average score for opponents from the state of Texas, 55-5 this year. Teams ranked 1 and 2 in scoring offense. B.J. Simmons can break Ty Detmer's 13-year-old record for passing yards in a season if he gets 83. He should do that. But here's a sobering stat. Oklahoma owns Texas Tech's offense. They have held Leach's teams in the 3 woodshed beatings to an average of 271 yards a game. That's 205 less than Leach's offense averages in the other 47 games. That's incredible. If Simmons can't solve the Sooners, it's going to be real ugly one more time. So George Smith went to find out how and why today might be different.
Designed by head coach Mike Leach, Texas Tech's high-powered offense has been carving up opposing defenses like a Thanksgiving turkey. But for the past 3 seasons, one opponent always seems to spoil the festivities: Oklahoma, the place where Leach served as offensive coordinator before taking over in Lubbock.
It's a pretty easy game for us. I mean, as far as preparing, it's not that tough on us because we've seen a lot of this stuff before.
He came from that system, so they've got a background of what we're doing, and they prepare for that, and so they're ready for us when we play.
In fact, the Sooners have won 3 in a row over the Red Raiders by a combined score of 118-41.
Yeah, if it's easy, anybody's beat Oklahoma, and so that's kind of what I tell my players. If football was easy, anybody could do it. And if that was the case, I'd probably be coaching the Swedish bikini team as opposed to, some of these big, gnarly, nasty guys.
You go into every game thinking you're going to just, shred defenses as an offensive player. And they just come out there and they just play so hard and so fast. And what it's done is it's been frustrating, but it's been a learning experience.
What clues have you seen and tape along the way as to how to beat these guys?
Oh, those are highly classified and still searching for some, too.
Tech's best chance may lie in the arm of their slingshot quarterback. Few teams have been able to contain Tech's B.J. Simmons this year. He's tossed 47 touchdown passes and needs just 83 yards to set the Division 1A single-season record for passing yards.
One of us is going to get exposed. Either we're going to show how strong our defense is or how weak the defense is.
Can the Tech offense shine one more time? Or will it be lights out in Lubbock?
I don't know if they needed to hear that. Tommy Harris saying somebody's going to be exposed because he didn't think it's going to be their side. And coaching the Swedish bikini team, that might look pretty good to Mike Leach after this game.
Very deadpan.
Yeah.
Coach the Swedish bikini team. That's his style. Texas Tech coming off an explosive offensive performance against Texas, but Texas plays a ton of man coverage. Today they're going to see nothing but zone from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's goal is to be able to sit B.J. Simmons back there and force him to be patient in the pocket. You get a look at last year what Texas Tech did against Oklahoma. This was in Norman. I know it's Cliff Kingsbury, but it's just an idea of what they try to do. This is good stuff here. They're going to confuse B.J. Simmons the way you're confused looking at all those circles and crosses with the lines. But here's the pressure. They're going to put a lot of zone pressure on him. Get to him. Look at the great coverage in the backside. And last year, Kingsbury had nowhere to go. This is Mike Stoops' favorite. He's going to rush 3 and give the quarterback 9 seconds to try to find an open man. And then eventually, because of 8 men in coverage, take his time and come up with a sack. When you got 8 guys in coverage, you can still get pressure. You're going to be able to do that. They have to tackle well in the secondary, but the confusion of B.J. Simmons to disrupt the timing with the Texas Tech receivers. That's why Oklahoma plays so well in this game, and that's why Oklahoma's defense will win this game.
Talk about Oklahoma offense. They've scored 50 points at least in the last 6 games, and they've done it with special players making big plays on the passing game. And they got that Heisman Trophy candidate, Jason White, number 18. Watch him. He hits B. Jones here with a beautiful pass right into the touchdown. But here's my favorite, this guy, Mark Clayton. I'm telling you, talk about Fitzgerald. This guy's the second best receiver, maybe, when it comes to the little guy. Woo! Great
big
catch.
Time.
Now he's a big-time player. Texas Tech is 5 at home, so I think the game 5-0 at home. So I think this game's going to be closer than the experts think, but then Oklahoma blows them out at the end.
Wait a minute. Which is it? Which is it?
You said closer than the experts.
I said closer than the experts think, then Oklahoma.
So you don't think it's closer than the experts?
Hey, they've clinched the division. It's in Lubbock. A lot of talk about the BCS. They don't need to win out. And here's another distraction for you. Hey, another distraction for you. Yeah. Mike Stoops to Arizona. It's been reported all over the place that it's a done deal. What do you have for us?
Erroneous reports.
Erroneous.
He has met with Arizona. He's going to meet with them Sunday after this game. His focus is on Texas Tech, but he has a very good chance to get this job. And if things work out on Sunday, Mike Stoops could be the next head coach at Arizona.
But he would stay through the Big 12 championship game.
Through the Big 12 championship game. If they go into the national championship and he's offered the job, he would go become the head coach and become a consultant for Oklahoma's defense.
Consultant. Okay. All right, to set us up for the stretch run here, big games in the Big House, the Grove, and South Central. Bring back Bubba Sparks. Bubba?
Pride is spoiled in Ohio State, doing the pressure cooker really boiling. It just got Eli really is something. Not the first quarter, second, but the third coming. A quarterback greatness, the challenge to the weight. Sitting hills from the bayou, the plans to the plate. This afternoon in Oxford, how would the West be one? Oh, listen, LSU mistakes, they can be running out in Los Angeles. The Soldiers and the Bruins, that see supersedes with the Bruins wanna ruin. Okay.
ESPN HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today.
Do you have the right truck? The 2004 Chevy Silverado now available with power packs. Get the Silverado extended cab with the light duty power pack, Vortec V8 heavy duty trailering, plus the Safe and Sound power pack, XM satellite radio, Bose sound system, and the security of 1-year OnStar Safe and Sound service. Silverado, now available with power packs. It's the right truck.
Did you know that a car hitting a wall at 40 miles per hour hits with the same force as if it fell off a 5-story building? It's not easy getting through to teenagers today. So at Liberty Mutual, we produced a video especially for teens about car safety, because we'll do whatever it takes to keep them safe on the road.
Liberty Mutual, it's more than insurance. It's insurance in action.
Now for 60 miles per hour. Wasn't that fun?
ESPN's X Games 9. This DVD is your backstage pass to X Games 9. It includes tons of behind-the-scenes footage with your favorite action sports athletes. It also comes with a 63-minute bonus CD soundtrack. See X Games 9 through their eyes. Get inside X.
The Spurs. The Lakers. Who is the best in the West? In the biggest game of the young season, the NBA's reigning powers meet in a monumental clash. As part of a blockbuster Friday doubleheader on ESPN. In Game 1, King James and the Cavaliers face the Pistons. Then, the defending world champion Spurs take on the new-look Lakers. Doubleheader coverage begins at 7:30 Friday on ESPN.
Welcome back to College Game Day, built by the Home Depot.
Let's talk quarterback matchup here. There is Craig Krenzel. First made a name for himself in this place 2 years ago. He was a replacement starter, and Ohio State, as an underdog, jumped on Michigan, led 23-0 in that game. John Navarre in that game, so distraught by his performance, he was seen on the sideline in tears. Krenzel's known only success against the Wolverines in his career.
I tell you what, I've seen Krenzel play over over and over again. You know, I've never seen a guy lose a game. He wins it with his legs. He wins it with his arm. He wins it with his mind. He wins it with his soul. The guy's a winner. He protects the football also. Last 5 big ball games, only 3 turnovers. If it's close, Chris Fowler, keep your eye on Krenzel. The guy finds a way to win the game.
As a scrambler often.
Anything.
Obviously, it's about more than the quarterbacks, but you're going to put these stats side by side. Keep in mind that John Navarre has been a sub 50% passer in the 2 games against the Buckeyes, but the big stat, that third one down there, that glaring number 7 turnovers. So even though they've marched the ball pretty well in Ohio State, at least they did last year, only got 3 field goals, the turnovers, and they haven't protected him that well.
Well, I think the most frustrating thing, if you think about John Navarre, I think just he symbolizes the importance that fans put into this rivalry. You look at the Michigan records as far as quarterbacks are concerned, he's near the top in every category. He has started 40 games for Michigan. He's won 30 games. In his last 4 games, he's probably playing the best football in his entire career, yet the jury is still out from Michigan fans about John Navarre because of his 0-2 mark against Ohio State. If he plays well today, his legacy will be he was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play for the Maize and Blue. If he struggles and he goes 0-3 and Michigan loses, these Michigan fans will never forgive John Navarre. Here's a guy that's one of the best quarterbacks they've ever had, and if he goes 0-3, they're not going to forgive him. That tells you how important this game is.
And Krenzel and Navarre both know the pressure's on the guy who's 0-2, not the guy who's 2-0
exactly right.
on this rivalry. Speaking of quarterbacks on the hot seat today, how about Matt Buck of LSU? He's a 24-year-old former baseball player, future dentist. He's also the SEC's pass efficiency leader, and he's won 14 of his 16 starts. But he's always the other quarterback in this game because Eli Manning, the Oxford farewell, he's got the 45 school records. Mel Kiper now rates him as the #1 senior prospect in the draft. A win today, he just might swing enough Heisman votes to make it a 3-way controversy. But more importantly for Manning, he will go out with that baker's dozen of 5th-year seniors at Ole Miss who came in together and went through so much together. John Barr on what got Manning to this moment.
Going deep. Touchdown, Rebels!
To see him today, the confident quarterback with the famous football pedigree, it's easy to think things have always come easy to Eli Manning, but there was a time this player, so adept at reading defenses, had trouble reading at all.
But I was fine on math and other things, just English, reading, writing. It just didn't make sense to me for whatever reason. I couldn't grasp it.
Eli was already in the shadow of older brothers Cooper and Peyton and just out of 1st grade when his parents pulled him out of the school for special tutoring.
When you're little like that, you know, being called, stupid or something, that can, get to you. So I chose to switch schools where I'd still be in the same grade as them and, could just work on it and try to get better work on my problem.
That experience and growing up with 2 outgoing older brothers go a long way in explaining how Eli wound up the quiet Manning.
Anyone came up and they asked me a question, I wouldn't say anything. They asked my name, I might say Eli, might not. Just, that was just my personality.
You're in an elevator for a long ride with one other person and you're there's that awkward silence where you try to make up some sort of nonsense conversation to pass the time. It doesn't bother Eli a bit. He's perfectly content sitting there not saying anything and making you feel awkward.
He's not shy. He's very comfortable in any setting. But sometimes getting him to say more than a couple of words is a challenge.
This year, teammates have seen another side of Eli, far more vocal, but still far different from the in-your-face style of brother Peyton.
So whereas Eli might say, you might think about doing this, Peyton might say...
He might say, if you don't do this, I'm not going to throw it to you again.
That's still not my way of dealing with things. Some people, if you go and yell at them, then they'll start pouting and get their head out of the game. Where some people, they need to get yelled at, and that's how they get ready.
It's not always the best way to compare. Peyton is very vocal, he's very focused, he's very driven, he's very serious. Eli is very focused, very driven, very serious, but not as serious as Peyton.
That drive has fueled Eli's success, both on and off the field. He's not only a Heisman candidate, but also one of the top scholar athletes in the country.
Working with people, they teach you if you just keep working at it, it'll come, and that's something I think I've taken, from those problems and brought it to everything else in my life from then.
He's managed to stay Eli Manning through all of this hoopla surrounding being here at Ole Miss. He's managed to be Eli about as well as you could ever expect.
We asked Eli Manning if, given the chance, he could pick the Heisman Trophy or the less-known Dratty Trophy, which goes to the top scholar athlete in the country. Without hesitation, he told us he would take the Dratty Trophy because it truly does represent individual achievement. But he could go a long way and sell himself to those Heisman voters with a win over this highly touted LSU defense. It is getting crazy here in the Grove. They are dancing in the Grove, Chris, and ready for what should be a historic match.
Hey, John, I hope that Eli can stand and deliver as well as you just did, right? I mean,
you got to learn sign language. That's tough crowd.
Hey, the Dratty Award's a big deal, first of all. But as far as the Heisman, the voters now have the ballots. I'd say I don't think that they've made up their mind. He can still make a statement. As for Eli's relationship with Peyton, they're very close. They talk on the phone. Peyton watches the tape of every Ole Miss game. And you can kind of relate to this because you were kind of in the Peyton position, and Kadri was kind of the Eli, right?
Hey, I definitely can in a little bit. But I feel like for Eli, the way that he's able to handle the expectations because he has siblings who's gone before him, have awesome success, I think aside from his ability, he's able to handle it because his family supports him at whatever level he plays at. So this is able to help him when he's getting all the expectations from everybody outside for him to perform and him to reach the levels of the other men that gone before him. I think this helps him to succeed.
Well, Rocky, if Eli Manning isn't the Heisman Trophy winner, he's the most valuable player in college football, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, he has Ole Miss 6-0 in the SEC for the first time in 41 years. And you know how he does it? He does it with winning rallies in the fourth quarter, almost all away from home. Eli Manning has 3 fourth-quarter rallies to win this season, all SEC road games. Vanderbilt, Florida, and Auburn. He's beaten every football team in the SEC as a starting quarterback. Now, this is a big game in Oxford, and he's very good at Oxford. He's 14-4, but he ain't never played anybody like this LSU. They got too many athletes in every position. Sorry, Eli. Sorry, Ole Miss. LSU wins.
You're right about that LSU defense. And talking to Eli this week about LSU's defense, he's well aware of the reputation that they love to come after quarterbacks. He said it's important that we avoid 3rd and long because when they get an offense into 3rd and long, they have a variety of ways of putting pressure on quarterbacks, and they're very creative. Nick Saban, one of the best at coming after a quarterback. Here, it's very simple. They're just going to outnumber you up front, and they're going to help the secondary here with a safety and a corner off the edge. And the quarterback here, Brody Croyle, doesn't have a chance before he is surrounded by Tiger defenders. Now, this is where they become creative because of their strength on the inside with Lavallee and Williams. Look at the quick little stunt. All they're doing is rushing 4. They have 7 back in coverage and allows them to get to the quarterback. Now, to beat LSU, you need a quarterback who can recognize the blitz, make the proper check, and throw the football with accuracy. And don't forget, Eli has had 2 weeks to get this offense ready for LSU. But I'm with my friend Eli. We love you. We want to pick you. Great scene in Oxford. But I got to go with LSU and those big, strong defenders.
That offensive line took it personally that they were a distant last in rushing in the SEC a year ago. I don't think they can handle the job either. Right? Give the point after breakdown. Defense has got to go.
Mississippi, Eli Manning.
Well, enough said with Eli Manning and his leadership. He definitely gives them the edge with the offense.
LSU, better athletes on defense.
Well, defensively, LSU, you could put almost any team up there, and I think LSU would get a check mark. So LSU today for sure.
Special teams, excellent return people for LSU.
Yep, Skylar Green gives him one of the best return men, one of the best young return men in the country.
Yeah, but Jonathan Nichols for Ole Miss, he's as good a kicker as yours in the country. I'm not sure it's that big an edge in special teams.
Well, I think it is because Nick Saban on this bottom one coaching, he's won big games at Michigan State and LSU.
Well, the coaching experience, the head coaching experience of Nick Saban and his team, his program being used to these high-profile kind of games gives LSU an edge.
Yep.
3 logos to 1. You like LSU over Ole Miss.
Sorry.
All right. No sentimental story unfolding in the Grove today. We'll come back. We'll talk plenty about the Buckeyes and the Wolverines, including a visit with Michigan's Chris Perry, the sturdy runner who almost left town, but didn't.
Now, your top 5 Pontiac high-performance plays of the NCAA.
Here's your ball game, folks, as Rudy looks, uncorks the deep one for the end zone. Phelan is down there. Oh, he got it! He got it! He got it!
drops back to throw. Under pressure, scrambles right. He's going to throw it as far as he can down the field. It is tipped and caught by Tillman. Tillman at the 20. Touchdown, USA!
Colorado just needs a touchdown. Time has run out. Stewart's throwing it to the end zone. The ball's in the air. Caught! Colorado scores! They get it to Rogers. They give it back now to the 30. They're down to the 20. All the bases out on the field. He's going to go in the end zone. The Bears have won. The Bears have won.
He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield and fires.
Pick your all-time Pontiac high-performance play at ESPN.com/Pontiac.
Home is where the hoop is. With ESPN Full Court, you'll get more than 450 additional games of college basketball. To order, call your local cable company, DirecTV at 1-800-DirecTV, or Dish Network at 1-800-333-DISH.
A terrifying force has arrived on Earth.
I've quarantined the entire area. Nothing leaves alive.
It weaves its way inside your body.
You're not Jonesy.
It twists its way into your mind. It uses you as its disguise.
Come with me, Owen. I'll show you things you wish you'd never seen.
Dreamcatcher. Order it now on pay-per-view.
She's a beloved beauty. A knockout in and out of the ring.
She wouldn't have it any other way.
WWE Fanatic Series proudly presents 100% Stratisfaction Guaranteed. Experience the life and career of the WWE's preeminent diva, Trish Stratus. Relive classic moments and go behind the scenes with the smoking hot cover girl and consummate champion. 100% Stratisfaction Guaranteed. Available all November on Dish On Demand pay-per-view.
Free up your night for Outback's tempting coconut shrimp and our Royal Port catch.
Glad to see someone's using the treadmill.
Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
On Campus is presented by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Aerial views courtesy of the Goodyear blimp, the Spirit of Goodyear, based in Akron in the state of Ohio. Goodyear blimps travel thousands of miles covering major sporting events every year. I wonder if that would get a boo for the blimp, but no. Joe Paterno looking to avoid a school record 9th loss today. Handshake with Jeff Smoker, a pair of survivors right there at his Smoker's final home game, and his Spartans' 3 straight losses have pushed him into a pool the Music City, Sun, and Motor City will draw from. Ditto for Whiskey. Alvarez seeks his 100th win. Final home game for Lee Evans coming off that 5-touchdown game. Bowl slot for both is huge. Quick pick there, guys.
Well, I like Michigan State. I think their home field and passing beats Penn State.
I like the graphic. I'm going with Penn State to upset
Ooh,
Michigan State.
Good.
Michigan State's on a slide. And I'm going to go with Wisconsin at home. I think the Badgers are a tough team at home. I'm going to see if they can beat off that. Iowa's a great team.
No, I disagree with you. I think Iowa's going to win that game with special teams.
There you go. Back to this game, and it is just classic stuff here today. A big Michigan offensive line led by Fat Elvis. Tony Pape needing to protect John Navarre and create some creases for the sturdiest back in America against the stoutest run defense in America. Chris Perry carried 51 times against Michigan State, the most ever for a back. His 17 touchdowns lead the Big Ten. For every yard, the Maize and Blue Nation ought to thank Irene Egerton Perry, because not only did she bring Chris into this world, she sent him to Fork Union Military Academy, and she kept him here at Michigan. Perry is a hard runner with a hard head and a natural distaste for discipline. Thank goodness for Mom. Whitney Casey on their bond and the battle they now face together against Irene's cancer.
How much can one running back stand here today? 20 times. 41st, 49, 51 carry. Magnificent performance.
Teammates say he runs with his heart, not his legs. And Chris Perry wears his heart on his sleeve in the form of 3 letters.
I look up to my mother. You know, she's worked hard all her life. I mean, she's been an entrepreneur
since since I was little, always starting her own business, and she just keeps on working hard.
And Irene Egerton Perry has worked hard to help her son succeed. When Chris was in 8th grade, she decided to send him to military high school in Virginia.
I didn't want him to be an athlete that thought from the neck down as opposed to the neck up. So I just felt that we needed to do something.
After a tearful and emotional graduation, Perry went to Michigan on a scholarship. But in his sophomore season, he became frustrated by a lack of carries. He wanted out.
Well, I went to talk to Coach Carr about my playing time, and he wasn't too happy with my performance on the field and so many things I've done off the field. So he told me that it'd be best if I transferred. He said the door's open.
What I said to him is, I said, you know, Chris, I'm not going to change. If you want to leave, that's fine. And if you're not willing to change, maybe you should leave.
I said, what are you going to do? I did say that. I said, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Why, you'll be quitting if you do that.
Irene moved from North Carolina to Michigan and launched Ann Arbor Magazine, all in an effort to help her son get back on track.
Adjusting to being away from me was not a big deal because he's always been away at school, so that wasn't it. But I just felt that maybe he needed some family nearby.
You know, guys are all macho about that. What's your mom moving here for? I mean, did you get any of that?
No, I didn't get any of that. I was more the guy like, why are you moving here? But, you know, she saw a business opportunity, and she wanted to be close to me, so it was like a double positive, I guess.
The move, the magazine, and Perry's junior season were all a success. But then
I found out that I had cancer. I'm like, cancer? This is unbelievable.
That was pretty tough. I mean, you know, when you're going into your senior year, you want to focus on football, and that's it. That's your main focus. But for somebody that you love very dearly to be diagnosed with cancer was a little rough.
You know, it hit the whole team hard because she's a great inspiration for all of us, and I think Chris just used that for motivation, you know.
In August, chemotherapy for Irene's breast cancer began. Her battle has inspired her son and his team.
He has her spirit. He has her energy. He has her enthusiasm. And that has translated to our team as well.
To just show his mother he can perform well and do good in school and all those things is a motivator for every player that's on the team.
It's not that I didn't realize it, but you realize that, you know, you can be going boom, just like that. Cancer does not define you, but if you let it, you can be defined by cancer.
For her to be going what she's been going through and to still be motivated enough to start her own magazine from scratch, that's motivation for me.
In this game, Perry ran hard last year, of course, overshadowed by Maurice Claret, who made the winning plays. Can Michigan and Perry expect to have running success against an Ohio State defense that averages exactly 1.6 yards per carry? It's incredible. #1 in the country.
Well, the reason they're #1 in the country is they play a zone blitz scheme where they commit their safeties and linebackers up to the line of scrimmage. They outnumber you. And I think for Michigan to move the football today, they've got to throw the ball to their talented wide receivers to set things up for Chris Perry in the running game. Let's take a look at our EA Sports virtual playbook to tell you what I'm talking about. I think the Michigan receivers, top to bottom, may be as good as anywhere in the country. Jason Avant, I think, is the guy. They have to find ways to get the football. The Buckeyes will blitz. They're going to try to take away Perry, especially on 1st and 10. Michigan's offensive line, if they can protect, get the football to Jason Avant and Braylon Edwards and Steve Breston, because if you can make the Ohio State secondary one guy miss, there's a lot of room to make plays. And here's another example. Ohio State focusing on the run. Look at good play-action fake from John Navarre to Chris Perry. It locks the safeties and the linebackers up close to the line of scrimmage, and then you can get the deep post behind it to Braylon Edwards. Now, and there's Braylon Edwards getting excited. Now, over the years in big games where Michigan is favored and playing at home, they have a tendency to get conservative with their play calling. That would be a mistake today. They have to maintain the balance that they've had in 3 of the last 4 games where they've averaged over 200 yards rushing and passing. They cannot come into this game and line up in the eye and run Chris Perry. They got to have balance to move the ball against Ohio State.
Not against Ohio State. This defense, we're talking about all the great things they do, but there's one stat jumped out at me. The Ohio State Buckeyes have won 3 games this year without scoring an offensive touchdown. Yo, that is really worth a know. And there's 2 players in Ohio State that need big games. Now, this is Kirk Herbstreit's theory working perfectly. They're going to get them backed up. And here comes Will Smith, and you got it. And there's it. Kirk, that's a perfect example.
A good punch.
I tell you. And Dustin Fox, number 33, was a sensation. 37, excuse me, was a terrific player against Purdue. Now, Ohio State plays great defense. Everybody knows that. To win this ball game, Michigan must bring their A-plus offensive game plan and let it go, because you're not going to beat Buckeyes conservative.
We can't find another example of a contending team that's won 3 games without scoring on offense. That's almost historical.
History.
Now, when Ohio State has the ball, did someone say conservative? History says if they can reach the 20-point mark against Michigan, they're 22-5-1. If they can just get to 20. Michigan's defense not quite as good against the run. Against the pass, though, only allowed 3 touchdown passes all season.
Wow.
It's incredible.
To get to 20 points, that defense has got a lot of work to do as far as not only stopping Michigan, but scoring. I know Ohio State has won 24 of their last 25 games, the same formula, great defense, superior special teams, and a conservative, predictable offense that is mistake-free. It's worked, it's been effective, but today in this game, I don't think the offense can rely simply on being mistake-free. I think they have to take chances, which means 1st and 10 is the most important down today for Ohio State. They run the football probably over 90% of the time on 1st and 10, which gets them into 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and then it's 3 and out. If they throw the football, and here's some examples of that, a few times that they've done it this year, look at the variety of formations. If they can do that, it slows down the Michigan defense and allows them to have a chance. You realize Craig Krenzel, there's your guy Ryan Hamby. Craig Krenzel, when he throws the football on 1st and 10, is completing 62% of his passes, averaging 14 yards of completion. So I think the onus really here is on both offensive coordinators. Which guy will break away from that conservative nature, take a few chances, not get crazy, but just enough chances throwing the football to open up the running lanes. Neither team will have success being conservative. Which team tries to take a few chances throwing to set up the run is the team that's going to win.
Speaking of taking chances, the only way Michigan can beat Ohio State, the only way is they got to play defense with reckless abandon. You got to force turnovers. It's easier said than done. These Buckeyes really protect the football. And number 94, Patrick Massey here, is watch this all-around athlete just keep hustling and forces a fumble right there. Michigan ball. And here, Leon Hall intercepts a football against Northwestern with a nice play. Boom. That's how you got to beat Ohio State. Now, the Michigan defense is sensational in the Big House. They allowed only 7 points per game to the opponents. That's unbelievable. That's really good.
One of those weapons you've been talking about is Santonio Holmes, number 4. Now, he was one of the players, along with Troy Smith, who was arrested, charged with disorderly conduct. It was a fight involving 5 Ohio State female students outside a dorm at 4 a.m. on Sunday. The women were also charged. There'll be some discipline perhaps down the line, but not including today's game. Holmes and Smith will be out there. We will come back and talk more about the games around the country on Rivalry Saturday. And, of course, well, predictions of the Buckeyes and the Wolverines are getting set inside the Big House. Come on back.
On Campus is presented by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Saturday, the day of reckoning, Judgment Day, D-Day. Saturday is 60 minutes that lasts for generations. I bleed red, you bleed orange. It's upsets, blowouts, trick plays, and trombone players that still can't tackle. Around here, every day is Saturday. NCAA Football 2004. Rated E for everyone.
If it's in the game!
EA Sports.
It's in the game!
This holiday season, deck your halls and leave them decked. And deck out your kitchen, too. At the Home Depot, we're more than a store. We're where holiday home improvements and decorations last all year. Right now at the Home Depot and Expo Design Center, you'll have no payments, no interest until January 2005 on all flooring and appliance purchases of $299 or more when you use your Home Depot or Expo consumer credit card. And for installation you can trust, let At Home Services professionally install it for you. The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
College football fans, Singular Wireless gives you a chance to win a trip to a BCS game or thousands of prizes. With your Singular Wireless phone, send a text message to 4263 and play the Singular Text Challenge. Or log on to ESPN.com/Singular. Enter now.
We must protect this house!
At Miller, we brew great tasting beer because you can get in line and take what they give you, or you can make your own choice. Miller, good call.
Wendy's is your last chance to win the final spot on ESPN's Dream Job, the new show that will crown the next SportsCenter anchor. Just go to Wendy's and find the code on your cup, then log on to ESPN.com/dreamjob and enter the Wendy's wild card.
College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help. And in part by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. And by Miller, who reminds you that there's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call.
There's intrigue at the Apple Cup as Wazoo is playing for a piece of the Pac-10 title, possibly a Rose Bowl bid. Washington comes off an historic humiliation. They quit against Cal, gave up 729 yards. They must win to avoid the program's first losing season in 27 years. But they've owned the Cougars 5 straight, including the last 2 as underdogs against a top 10 Washington State team, and that is the setup exactly today.
Not this year, sweetheart. Right. Washington State will score with the run, the pass, the kick, and the defense. Washington State's big, and they go to San Diego and play in the Holiday Bowl.
You should know better than anybody. These rivalry games, you throw away the stats. Washington at home, just when it looks like they should get blown out of the water, Washington will come back home and play a great game and win. I'm going to go with Washington at home.
Here's a stat you can't throw out the penalties and the turnovers that Wazoo commits. It's actually unbelievable. Amazing that they're able to win despite that.
They're going to win.
USC has never beaten UCLA 5 straight, but Troy a 3-touchdown favorite today. That's a huge number in a rivalry game. 20 points is the closest margin in the last 6 USC games this season since they lost. The Bruins defense, they're much improved, and they are humiliated by last year's 52 points that SC scored on them. A machine-like Matt Leinart in recent games, 18 touchdowns, no picks in the last 5. His quarterback rating is 20 points higher than Carson Palmer's was a year ago.
That's amazing.
Their defense is banged up, though, USC.
Yeah, but forget about it. I tell you what, they got the best offensive team in the nation when it comes to balance. And in the last 6 games, they've thrown 20 touchdown passes and 11 touchdown runs. And let me tell you something. And Leinart is good, White is good, USC is good. And remember, last year, they got messed up and they didn't get a chance to play in the national title game. Nah, not this year. They destroy UCLA.
I cannot believe they've replaced their entire backfield, replacing a 4-year starter quarterback, and they are one of the most balanced, explosive offenses in all of college football. I love this. Matt Leinart's making great decisions, and he's the beneficiary of being able to distribute the football to some great receivers. Not only Mike Williams, but the glue is Kerry Colbert. He's been around, and he makes great plays. He's a good leader. Reggie Bush is a sensational tailback and part of the trifecta in the backfield. And they can also get it to the tight end, Greg Gunther. It reminds me so much of last year's USC offense, and I think a lot of people question them. It's just a shame. They need Michigan to win to get USC into the driver's seat and on the way back to the Sugar Bowl. Everybody wants to see USC. They deserve a chance to play for the national title the way they're playing on the field.
And that's why it's a test of focus for the Trojans and for the Sooners. And I'm not sure they pass with flying colors. I'm not sure they pass with flying colors today.
Defense
a little closer. Time to recap here. West Virginia and Syracuse. Mountaineers going for that Big East Coast Championship. ESPN 2 in a couple minutes here. How do you see it?
Not so fast, my friend. Syracuse in an upset over West Virginia.
Well, West Virginia has to maintain the urgency that they have played with for the last 5 weeks, where they've won 5 in a row after starting 1-4. I think it'll continue today, and they're going to get a share of the Big East Championship. That's a heck of a story for Rich Rodriguez.
Sure is. Fiercest rivalry in the South. Alabama, Auburn, prime time on ESPN, playing mostly for pride.
Alabama plays hard, but Auburn wins by a field goal.
This is one of those games, and I know you guys would agree. Forget about the records. I'm going to be glued to the TV watching this game. I'm excited to see Alabama come back and win one for Mike Shula with good defense tonight. Make Jason Campbell throw.
Very fierce civil war as Oregon State visits Oregon.
Oregon State outscores the Ducks with the forward pass.
Oregon State is one of these teams that's starting to gain some momentum. December 6th, they play USC in the Coliseum. I like Oregon State big today over Oregon.
For the Big 12 North, it is Missouri, Kansas State. The Wildcats have beat them 10 straight.
Kansas State, too many touchdowns.
Well, Kansas State with L. Roberson and Darren Sproles and James Terry has given them an unbelievable explosion on this offense. I think it's the defense, though, containing Brad Smith is the difference.
How close will it be as the mighty Sooners try to fight out the distractions and visit Texas Tech?
Tech holds them close, but Oklahoma wins big at the end.
Well, Oklahoma has the answer for this Texas Tech offense every single year. Oklahoma and Mike Stoops, the defensive package, will put it together. And again, Jason White will light it up today to help his Heisman campaign.
All the fans passionate at LSU and Ole Miss. Can the Rebels faithful will them to victory against the mighty Tigers?
Eli Manning will play great, but LSU's got a lot more athletes. And go with the athletes.
I think all of us want to pull for Eli and Ole Miss. It's such a great story in Oxford. But I'm with Lee. LSU on offense and defense just too powerful. I think LSU wins.
And now to the 100th meeting between Ohio State and Michigan. The outright Big Ten championship at stake. Ohio State's national title shot is at stake. I don't want to say anything here, but there's some pressure on this set. Kirk Herbstreit on Ohio State road shows, home or away, has never been incorrect in a prediction, including calling a Michigan victory 6 years ago right here. We're going to hear from you right now on this one. You've called some Ohio State losses. You're never wrong in their games.
Well, you know, this is an interesting time for Michigan because they're peaking at the right time. The Michigan offense with John Navarre has been outstanding, and I think the defense is the best in the country when they play at home. The only way Ohio State stays in this game is if their defense can match Michigan's. If it's close, the edge goes to Ohio State because they find ways to win. Ohio State goes on the road, and Jim Tressel makes it 3-0 against Michigan.
Nice pick. All right, I picked Michigan to play the national title, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Mr. Corso, nothing if not consistent. The old school helmet and the Desmond Howard pose. All right, enjoy the ball game from here. Penn State, Michigan State coming up next. So Mark Jones, Bob Davey, and Holly Rowe. Let the shower begin. We'll see you later from Ann Arbor.
See you later.